Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for part 2 of our webinar series on navigating transition and assistive technology across the lifespan. In today's webinar, we will be talking about the transition into kindergarten and the primary grades for young children with disabilities. We will also talk a little bit about the delivery of special education services during this COVID-19 pandemic. My name is Michelle Sladon, and I'm an assistant professor and researcher at the University of Miami Mailman Center for Child Development, and I am co-presenting today with Kelly Fontaine, who is a special educator and assistive technology consultant. Ms. Fontaine is self-employed and is a paid consultant of FAAST, the Florida Alliance for Assistive Services and Technology, and I'm employed by the University of Miami, and we do not have any other financial disclosures. The contents of this presentation were developed under a grant from the U.S. Department of Education. In the next 30 or 40 minutes or so, we will be talking to you about the importance of transition planning for young children with disabilities as they transition from the preschool environment into kindergarten and the primary grades. And we will also discuss the steps in the transition process and the roles of everyone involved. We will provide a brief overview of what is assistive technology and how it's considered and how it can help during the transition process. And lastly, we will share resources available to assist with acquiring assistive technology services and devices. Throughout the presentation, we will be discussing assistive technology, or otherwise known as AT. So let's talk a little bit about what it means when we talk about assistive technology. Basically, assistive technology is any tool used to improve the functional capabilities of people with diverse abilities. It is essentially any tool to help someone to do something that they may have trouble doing. Things like talking, walking, reading, writing. And AT can range from no-tech tools such as pencil grips and slanted surfaces to low-tech types of devices such as switches and timers to more complex high-tech devices such as electronic books and communication devices. When we talk about children transitioning into kindergarten and the primary grades, it's important to address school readiness and early learning outcomes. So in collaboration with the Florida Alliance for Assistive Services and Technology, we have developed a series of resources for parents and teachers on how to use assistive technology to promote early learning. Our toolkit is called Step Up AT for Early Literacy, and our resources consist of online learning modules that are grounded in DEC recommended practices. Those are recommended practices from the Division of Exceptional Children. We utilize coaching techniques to help teachers learn how to use and incorporate assistive technology devices in the classroom. And we also have an AT lending library through our FAAST program for teachers and parents to borrow devices. The goal of Step Up AT is really to help children with their transition into kindergarten, to make sure that they are ready for school. And so in order to do that, we help teachers and parents improve their knowledge of assistive technology, help them to become more confident in their use of assistive technology. Our program is geared towards helping teachers and parents increase their use of AT in the classroom and at home, and ultimately to improve early learning outcomes for children with diverse abilities. Now, while we're physically located in Miami-Dade County, we, because our resources are online, we are able to serve all individuals living in other parts of Florida, and all of our resources are available online at www www.stepupat.com. And I believe Matt is going to pull up our website so that you can see what our resources are. So this is our webpage. As I mentioned, it's www.stepupat.com. And on our website, we have a teacher corner with a variety of resources, videos, demonstration guides for teachers. Our materials are available in English and in Spanish. We also have a parent corner that has a variety, again, of videos and resources for parents, again, both in English and in Spanish. And we have a lending library, a link to our lending library so that parents and teachers can access devices through the FAAST program. And we'll be talking more about the FAAST program in later slides.
I might could have used one of their chairs. Oh, look at Anna.
Next slide. As I mentioned, our state partner is the Florida Alliance for Assistive Services and Technology, and FAAST is a free program dedicated to improve the quality of life for all Floridians with disabilities. The FAAST main office is in Tallahassee, and there are 6 regional demonstration centers throughout the state, and you can see that on the map. That I think if you click through the map should pop up. Yeah, there's our map, and you can see where the 6 regional demonstration centers are. As I mentioned, at the Mailman Center, we are located in the southeastern part of the state, and we serve all of South Florida. But our resources are available through our other regional demonstration centers. So, as I mentioned, when we're talking about transition, we have to think about what's happening in our world as we speak due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And with regard to COVID-19, the bottom line is that schools are still required to provide students with disabilities who qualify for services through the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. Schools are still required to provide free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment to children who qualify. And so what that means is that schools must continue to provide services through alternate means or through distance learning as appropriate. And so one way schools can do this is that as part of school district's instructional continuity plan, they need to be sure to include provisions for students who have an individual education plan or a 504 plan. And this information is available through the Bureau of Exceptional Education and Student Services, otherwise known as BEES. And the Florida, as I mentioned, the Florida Department of Education has actually put together a pretty comprehensive selection of resources to help parents and teachers through COVID-19 with a variety of resources. And Kelly is going to talk a little bit about what's available on the website.
Sure. If you go to whenever you select this link, you'll see at the top of the page a directory of links that will provide you with a variety of resources based on what you're looking for and what you need. One of my go-tos is the link for supporting students with disabilities. When you select that link, you'll scroll down once you select that link. And for example, Microsoft, this is a great resource if you're looking for additional supports to help with remote learning. And this is a course that can help you understand all of the resources and accommodations that are available there. They also have resources here that help you to get the tools that you need for having access to learning materials. And if you go back up to the home page again and select early learning resources and engagement. For example, there you'll find all types of resources and tools that can help to prepare your child to go into kindergarten and next steps, and from curriculum to learning books, it's all there. It's a lot of things to go through, a lot of resources, and it's just a good tool just to know that it's there and available to assist.
Thank you. And one thing, a couple of things that our Step Up AT team, what we're doing to help meet the needs of families during COVID is our Step Up AT coaches have been supporting teachers remotely to use assistive technology practices in their online lessons, and parents have been borrowing devices to use AT during virtual lessons. At the Mailman Center, we've also been conducting virtual trials for augmentative alternative communication, otherwise helping parents with communication devices who are working with their children at home. We are using the FAAST Lab and the Step Up AT Lending Library to give parents access to devices, and we're putting together training videos and resources for providers who are now providing services to children and their families. And now I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, who's going to talk more about what that process of transition looks like from pre-K to kindergarten.
Thank you, Michelle. So transitioning from preschool to elementary school is a significant milestone in a child's life, and is typically a time of mixed emotions for both parents and children. And due to COVID-19, the way we're planning for transition this year has looked a little different. And it's important for parents to know there's still a lot that they can do to ensure that their child is ready and gets the support that they need to be successful in their new learning environment. So transition refers to the process of change and includes the events that occur when a child moves from one program or setting to another. When children make the transition from preschool to elementary school, they need to adjust to new settings and new situations, including new rules the teacher may have, new expectations, new ways of learning, new friendships with both their peers and relationships they have with adults. Getting familiar with their physical surroundings and what the rituals and routines may be. When a child transitions successfully, he or she's more likely to enjoy school and demonstrate steady progress with academics and social skills. For children in special education programs, transition planning is critically important to ensure they have the services and supports that they need to set them up for success. And so how can parents help in this transition process? One of the most important things you can do as a parent is to start planning early. Planning is one of the most important things that a parent can do to help their child prepare for transition. Planning for your child's entrance into kindergarten can begin as early as a year ahead of time, so starting early is important. You want to discuss your child's readiness for kindergarten with his or her teacher. And school readiness refers to the skills, knowledge, and behaviors that are essential for positive school outcomes, such as having the ability to express wants and needs, being able to share and take turns with others, being able to pay attention and follow directions, and so on. And you can start the process by asking the IEP team to discuss what skills your child will need, and your child's teacher what skills your child will need to succeed in kindergarten, and what IEP goals would help to move your child in that direction. And your teacher or the IEP team may suggest home-based activities that you can use to help your child develop his or her skills. Before your child starts kindergarten, you want to visit the classroom with your child and meet the teacher. This can help to reduce the anxiety of the unknown. And during this time of social distancing and home learning, some schools are hosting virtual events to help children become familiar with their new surroundings, such as hosting a virtual story time or a small group meet and greet. And some teachers are helping families prepare by taking pictures of the classroom to create a picture book that parents can use to talk with their child about what to expect in their kindergarten classroom. Help prepare your child for the change. Talk routinely about what to expect with your child. You can role play situations and experiences that may occur in the new environment. You can play school at home and practice raising your hand to ask a question, or have your child practice carrying a lunch tray during mealtime to get them used to the routine of the cafeteria. It's also helpful to write down your child's strengths and needs as a learner, including accommodations and assistive technology, and share this information with the teacher and IEP team. So effective transition practices help children and families move smoothly from one learning setting to another. A successful transition is built on sharing information, building relationships, and program alignment, or in other words, how instruction is delivered. Educators in Head Start programs typically share information about the kindergarten transition by preparing children for what to expect, communicating with families in their home languages, and sharing data and progress with families and the receiving elementary school. Routine communication and collaboration among parents and teachers will also help to facilitate a successful transition and ensure your child's teacher is aware of the assistive technology services and supports your child needs to perform his or her best. The IEP, or the Individualized Education Program, is something that will be a new acronym for you to learn. And you may notice that Individualized Education Plan and Individualized Education Program are sometimes used interchangeably. If your child received early intervention services, you may be familiar with an IFSP, or an Individualized Family Services Plan. But one of the primary differences between the IFSP and the IEP is that services provided with the IFSP were more family focused, whereas once your child enters kindergarten and receives an individualized education program, once that's developed, services become focused on meeting the needs of the child specifically and their learning setting. An IEP is a written agreement that tells your child, the teachers, school staff, and service providers what services the school will provide in order to meet your child's educational needs. Every child with a disability who's eligible for ESE will have an IEP. Decisions about assistive technology, support services, and accommodations all occur and happen and are discussed, and decisions are made all during the IEP meeting. Your child can't receive ESE services until the first IEP is developed and you give your permission for the services and placement. And an IEP is reviewed and written for your child at least once a year. However, throughout the year, if you notice that your child's needs have changed, you can certainly request to have it amended earlier. So things to remember about the IEP. This plan is just for your child. It describes the services that your child will receive. It will be updated at least once a year. And it's really important to invite people who have a knowledge of the supports that your child received and regarding assistive technology or accommodations, and can speak to that and share that information with the team. Speaking of the IEP team, who's involved and what does that look like? So there's many members involved, and we're going to go through their roles, but you, the parent, you have an intimate knowledge of your child's needs, experience, and you can provide valuable information about your child's strengths and needs. So it's critically important that you're involved in this team and helping to make decisions about your child. If your child is mainstreamed or maybe spending some time in the general education classroom, a general education teacher or teachers will be part of the team to share information about classroom expectations and your child's performance. A special education teacher who has training and experience in educating children with learning differences and working with others, educators to plan accommodations, will also be participating. An individual who can interpret the results of your child's evaluation and use the results to help plan an appropriate instructional program will also be on the team. You will need to have a representative of the school system who knows about special education services and has the authority to commit resources there as well. Individuals with knowledge or special expertise about your child are invited by you or the school district. This could be psychologists or people who have provided indirect services in other settings, OTs, PTs, people who provide transportation, and representatives from transition services agencies may also be present as well. Anyone invited by you or you feel that would be helpful during the IEP process can be invited and attend the meeting. It's often helpful to ask a friend, another parent, or an advocate to attend the meeting with you to represent knowledge of your child and your child's strengths and areas of need. During the IEP meeting, the team will typically discuss 9 items and document the decisions made by the team in the IEP. The team will discuss the present level statement, which describes what your child can do, what they struggle with, and his or her functional abilities. It may also include information about how your child behaves or communicates with others and the grade level your child is performing. It's important for the IEP team to understand what your child is able to do, as well as how your child's disability affects their progress when developing the IEP. This information helps determine what your child needs to learn and your child's annual goals and what services they may need. Measurable annual goals state what your child needs to learn in order to progress in the curriculum and meet the needs related to their disability. These goals are based on the present level statement and describe what your child should be able to learn within a year, and these goals must be measurable. This means that the goals should be written so that at the end of the year, the IEP team can tell if your child learned what was expected. Throughout the year, you and the school will keep track of how well your child's doing. The IEP must describe how your child's progress toward their annual goals will be measured and how you will be regularly informed of that progress. It will describe how often you will receive reports about the progress as well. The IEP describes each ESE service, related service, accommodation, or modification, any type of support your child receives. It may list the title of the person who will make sure that your child receives each service, such as any service, aids, and supports or help that your child may need in order to benefit from school. Accommodations are changes that are made in how the student accesses information and demonstrates performance. We're going to be talking about that in more detail later on in the presentation, but accommodations are very important for students with disabilities. and you'll see examples of what I mean by that. And decisions about where your child will be taught and placement decisions are based on the needs of your child and are indicated in the IEP as well. So there are 4 areas of accommodations. Accommodations are important for students with disabilities. They are used to increase, maintain, or improve academic performance. And assistive technology is a tool that may be used to provide an accommodation. For example, students who have a vision impairment may use audiobooks, large print text, high contrast worksheets, or screen readers to access materials used during instructional activities. Accommodations do not change the expectation of learning or what the child is required to learn. And there's typically 4 areas of accommodations in the way that you present information, or how students respond to information, the environment that the instruction is taking place in, and how much time they have to complete a particular. So when addressing assistive technology considerations within the IEP process, it's important to understand that consideration is a quick process that's conducted during the development of every student's annual IEP. If you need a more in-depth look of the student's abilities and desires, an AT assessment is needed. When considering AT, it's important to have at least one person on the IEP team to have knowledge about assistive technology. As we discussed before, that's can be many people, but typically the special education teacher or someone at the school, an AT specialist, has experience with assistive technology and is a valuable part of that decision-making process. Consideration of AT is required by IDEA and is based on the unique educational needs of each student. Students are not excluded from consideration of AT for any reason, a type of disability, age, etc. A collaborative process that ensures that all IEP teams effectively consider the assistive technology of students is defined, communicated, and consistently used throughout the process. Teams need to include, as I said, people experienced with AT. Decisions are based on the needs of the student, their extracurricular activities, and their progress in the curriculum. It's important to gather data about the students' goals, what environment they're going to be learning in, and what task that they need to do that they may be having difficulty doing independently. And finally, there needs to be some type of documented rationale supporting evidence for why the assistive technology has been considered and needed. So there's a lot to consider. When you're considering AT, and many times it's helpful to have something to help structure all of that information. And the SET framework is a great way to do that. With this tool, it helps you to consider AT, introduce how AT can make daily routines and activities easier. You have this, first you can look at the student and consider the child's strengths, areas of need. You look at the task. What does the child need to do? What are some of the goals on the IEP? Consider the environment, routines. When will the child need to use an AT strategy, or where and what setting? And then finally, the tool. What assistive technology tool or strategy can be used to help the child achieve the goal, increase participation, or be included more in the activity or setting. And then you want to make sure that you discuss the plan for implementing AT. Who's going to be responsible for providing and supporting, for providing the assistive technology and providing the support in the implementation of the process? When is the assistive technology going to be used, and who's going to use it with the child? Discussing those expectations and getting everything out in the open is often very helpful and reduces confusion later on. It's helpful to provide a description of any AT your child currently uses and AT that will be needed in the new educational setting, or AT that you anticipate may be needed as a result of a conversation that you had with the teacher or support service person previously. To assist with the transfer of equipment, provide any information you have concerning the AT, including steps for using and maintaining the technology. Be sure you identify key personnel and establish roles and training needs of team members who's going to be involved in the training and providing ongoing support. And follow-up activities, including assessments and evaluations. How's it working? How's it going? And it's also important to make sure you establish an individual timeline for implementation of the accommodations, assistive technology, and educational strategies. So assistive technology is anything used to improve the capabilities of people with disabilities. And when you choose to incorporate assistive technology into your classroom, you help that student have an equal opportunity to learn. And we're going to go through some examples of assistive technology and how they can help. So assistive technology can help to improve a child's participation in an educational activity. For some children with disabilities, learning a new skill can be a challenge. If a child is having trouble participating in classroom activities, AT can support the child. For example, interactive storybooks with picture manipulatives can help a child with cognitive delays understand the main idea of a story. Or pairing a communication device with a book can allow a child with a language delay to participate in circle time. AT services include activities such as assessing a student's need for AT, training the child, family members how to use it, and evaluating the child's experiences with various AT tools. Many students with disabilities have trouble managing their time in the school day, and timers are a great way to help students prepare for when it's time to switch to a new task. This greatly reduces or eliminates stress placed on children when it's time to shift gears. Timers can be used to make sure a student doesn't spend too much time on one particular task. When adapting a task for a child with a visual impairment, be sure to make text easier to see by increasing the font size and ensuring the font selected is clear and easy to read. You may increase the contrast, use highlighters, and lined grids or lined paper to help children focus on a word or track a line of print. If you may use magnifying tools to enlarge printed text on paper or monitors. If your child is having trouble with reading, it can help to hear books aloud as he or she looks at the printed words. They can do this by listening to an audiobook while flipping through a traditional book, or he or she can use text to speech to hear the words in a digital book.
No.
Text to speech is helpful for children who struggle with reading, have a vision impairment or print disability, and allow kids to both see and hear when reading, help them understand what they're reading better.
¿Algo más? ¿Lo que sobró?
Next slide. Students with sensory disabilities often struggle to remain in their seat, which affects their ability to learn. There are many flexible seating options available to help stimulate students' sense of touch, which can help them to maintain focus and process information. Sensory input is especially helpful for students with ADHD, ADD, and FAAST. And then finally, we talked a little bit about our relationship with FAAST before, and Matt, I'd love to give you an opportunity to go through the FAAST website and share information about the programs that you offer through the Florida Alliance for Assistive Services and Technology.
Sure thing. So my name is Matt Holloway. I'm the Director of Operations at FAAST. We are the state's assistive technology program. We offer a number of services, including partnerships with programs like the Step Up AT program at the University of Miami. The heart of the services we offer are information and assistance. That's really like just an overall statewide help desk that helps you disseminate information about assistive technology and find more information and resources available for you. Kind of expanding on that, we direct people to various AT trainings, transition trainings like this one here that you're participating in now. AT demonstrations to provide kind of like a compare and contrast different devices to find the one that works best for you. And we offer also device loans, free, no cost, device loans for roughly 30 days to allow you to try out some AT, to either provide a combination or to help you make a decision before you buy. And that's one of the biggest things that we participate in is the device loan program. And I'm going to kind of just show you some of the devices here. This is some of the devices available through the Step Up AT program. We have things like document holders, large switches, trackballs for a computer, pencil grips, little cube chairs to help stay seated, color-coded keyboards. And these items are, again, available at no cost to you. You go through the process just like you would any online retailer. You find the device you need to borrow, you add it to a shopping cart and check out from that. The two things that we do require are a valid Florida ID and just signing a little document stating that you understand the device is the property of FAAST and it will eventually come back to us. We loan out these devices on a daily basis, and if you have any questions, definitely direct them our way.
Thank you, Matt.
You're very welcome. Just one other thing I wanted to mention, we do also have the funding assistance. We have our New Horizon loan program that provides low interest loans. So if you've pursued every other avenue for funding for an AT device and you need a little help purchasing it, we do offer those loans on a person-by-person basis. One thing that really sets us apart from other lenders is we don't so much look at numbers in a spreadsheet, we identify the person. And that is all.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Does anyone have any questions?
I've unmuted everyone, so if you have any questions, you can put those in chat or speak out.
So this is Daniel for you guys. I kind of know the answer to this one, but I just wanted to ask anyway, just in case. I know Florida has, you all have 5 locations, correct, around the state that have demonstration centers?
We have 6.
How many?
That's 6 remote locations plus headquarters.
Okay. So if families can go to these centers basically to kind of look at technology and what they are, and do they borrow directly from the main office, or do they borrow? The best options for them to borrow equipment.
I'm sorry about, let me, go ahead.
They can borrow devices from any one of the regional demonstration centers, and if the regional demonstration center does not have the device, then we can always contact the state office to see if the state library has the device.
Okay. Yeah, because normally I get this question from families, and I typically will direct them to that, but I kind of make sure they know where their regions are, and I think it's a great resource. So if anybody out there is not familiar with that, it's a great resource. Please do take advantage of it. It's very helpful.
Yes, and that's exactly right. The first step would be to direct families or providers. Anybody can reach out to the regional demonstration center. So the demonstration center closest to your area, and that would be the first step in requesting a device. And if that regional office doesn't have that device, then we can contact the state. Do we have any other questions?
I just had somebody in chat ask for the link to those resources. I'm about to post that. We had a question asking if there was a mailman center in Broward.
If there's a mailman center where?
In Broward.
There's a mailman center, mailman center Siegel, which is part of Nova Southeastern University. And that's a separate organization or agency. Any other questions?
And had one more question asking if the Step Up AT website is available to be shared with parents and teachers.
Yes. Here is the website, and our contact information is on the website, and you can reach out to us as well as if you want additional information. Wait. Hold on. I'm going to repost it because I didn't post it to all. Let's see. Oh, can I post it to everyone, Matt? The stepupat.com?
Oh, yes, I can take care of that.
Okay, thank you.
you should be able to post to everyone now.
Okay. Step up 18. Oh, okay. There we go, to all. And I just posted my email address if people have specific questions about the Mailman Center or Step Up AT, you can send me an email.